and welcome to Radio Vision Network. And here we are with Camp with Mrs. Whitebriar. I'm Carol Moore with my television persona as Mrs. Whitebriar, and we are talking Ben Franklin Stamp Club today. And as we do with every one of our camp segments, we have to open the club. We bang our mallet and we open the Ben Franklin Stamp Club. Now, this is an interactive television show for kids of all ages, moms and pops, grandpops, and little children, even as low as the age of 3, can participate in our stamp club. It's easy enough. If you send me a self-addressed stamped envelope, I will send you one of these sheets. This is to start your stamp club. Just get a 3-ring notebook, send this page to with Mom and Dad to work, and get 20 copies so that you can start organizing your stamp club. Then when you send me your self-addressed stamped envelope, I will send you a big handful of these stamps. And what do we do with the stamps? We lay them in a little bowl of water with their ink side down, and that way the stamp weight of the ink will pull the stamp off the paper. Sometimes we have to help it by peeling it off. Then we put it on a paper plate and let it dry, and then we put it into these segments. We put all flowers on one page, all people on another page. We put famous places and buildings on another page. And today we're talking about the section that is my favorite, and it's called transportation. Now, getting a stamp is very important. You had to be doing something really, really special in order to get a stamp. As you can see from this group of stamps, you'll see there's a stamp for the spaceship. There's a stamp for the satellites. But there's also stamps way back when Henry Ford first started the assembly line and built his first car. So every part of transportation, even a donkey cart, has a stamp. Even a wagon that a little child would pull is considered transportation. And all of those have a stamp to remind us that they existed. On this one, it was very good because it has a stamp which is the first man on the moon, and it also has an airmail stamp of a streamline train, and also a World War II airplane. So these are the transportation things that you can find. Now, I have plenty of transportation stamps to send you, but you must send me the self-addressed stamped envelope so that I can send you the sheet as well as the stamps. So that's what we're studying today, is transportation. All right. And as I had told you before, this is a sculpture of Ben Franklin. And why do we have a club called Ben Franklin Stamp Club? Because Ben Franklin, 300 years ago, was the very, very first Postmaster General. He had the idea that if you pay somebody a few pennies, and even then it was a half a cent. We don't have half a cents anymore in this country, but it was a half a cent to have somebody pick up the mail and take it to another person's house. Sometimes it might be across the street, but sometimes it might be across the town. Sometimes it might be across the country. We didn't have airmail until the 1930s and 40s when we finally had airplanes, and that's what an airmail stamp is. Means that it's going to fly to its destination and get there sooner. Say if you had a friend in France and you wanted to send them an invitation, you would have to send it airmail so that it would get there in 3 or 4 days, because if you sent it any other way, it would take 2 to 3 weeks before it would get there. So the Ben Franklin Stamp Club is here and ready for you. Just send your self-addressed stamped envelope, and we'll be back in a little bit with our next segment, which has to do with cooking for kids. So stay right there, and we'll be back with Radio Vision Network, Camp with Mrs. Whitebriar.
Sub some sizzle. This is the way. The way it's always been. The way it always should be. The way it always will be. Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Simply Gents, located in Marlton, New Jersey, takes care of all your grooming needs, including haircuts, straight razor shaves, massages, facials, manicures, pedicures, and waxing. To find more information or book an appointment, visit us online at www.simplygents.com. The secret weapon of a well-groomed man, Simply Gents.
If you haven't been to Speed Raceway, what are you waiting for? You want to live fast? You want to make every second count? Then grab the family. Round up the guys. Speed Raceway is 100,000 square feet of excitement, whether you're a kid or a kid at heart. Speed Raceway is the place for endless fun all summer long. Log on to speedraceway.com or just get here now.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to make a really great sub, this is what we do. It's what we've been doing. It's what we've always done. It's what we'll always do. So what are you doing? Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Today's show was brought to you by Alicia Kelly of White Horse RV Center in Williamstown, New Jersey. Alicia is your RV expert. Contact Alicia at whitehorserv.com or give her a call at 856-262-1717, extension 203. When you think of RV, think Alicia Kelly.
Today's show has been sponsored by Farmers Insurance in Voorhees, New Jersey. To protect your assets and the people you love, call Mike Skoranek, your local Farmers Insurance agent, at 856-336-2553.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Welcome back to Radio Vision Network. It's Camp with Mrs. Whitebriar. I'm Carol Moore, and my television persona is Mrs. Whitebriar. I just think that's a whole lot more interesting than just plain old Mrs. Moore. So here indeed, at the second section, we talk about food. Food that kids can take care of. And one of the things we're talking about today is dehydration. Dehydration is a big word. Okay, but the word means to take all of the fluid out of food, because as long as food has fluid in it and is wet, then bacteria can grow and make the food go rotten. So what we're doing today is we're dehydrating food, taking the moisture out. And the way that we do that, we take some plain old cherry tomatoes and we just cut them in half, and we put them on a dehydration tray. Now, if you do not have a dehydration tray, it's absolutely fine. Anything with holes in it will do just as well. And some people put their dehydration tray out in the sunlight, and the sun makes it work even better. So if you have a plate, you can just slit your tomatoes in half. The reason we slit them in half is to make them dry faster. If they're in a whole round tomato, they will take twice as long to dry because the air keeps going around and around and around. But when you cut something round and give it a flat side, guess what happens? The air stops on the flat side and dries it out even faster. And so our tomatoes are ready to go into the dehydrator. Okay, and the dehydrator can be your oven. Just turn it on to your lowest setting and sit it in there, and guess what? Overnight it will turn into hard, dried tomatoes. Now this is really cool because I'm going to show you what vegetables I have dried. Now, these are dried sweet potatoes. Listen. Hear how hard the sweet potatoes are? And yet it tastes like a sweet potato chip, but it's a sweet potato. And then also, everybody loves mushrooms. Mushrooms have a lot of antioxidants and healthy things for you. And so, when you dehydrate mushrooms, it's so cool because they weigh practically nothing. Look, they don't even make a noise when I bang them. A mushroom, it's like eating a cloud. But because there's no moisture there, it will not go rotten and it will last forever. And it's great when you want to crumble some on your salad. Look, they just tear apart like this. You can always have them in the house and they never go rotten and you always have plenty of good food. Now the one that I'm dehydrating today is dried tomatoes. You will not believe how much moisture is in a tomato. And once we dehydrate it and take all of the, look, it's just a dried little piece of tomato because there's no moisture in it. It looks a whole lot different, doesn't it? It used to look like a red, bright red, juicy tomato. But when we take the moisture out so that the bacteria doesn't grow, what do we have? We have a dried tomato. And the last thing that I have to show you is a dried cranberry. Very good snacks, very healthy for you. And again, cranberries are so high in fluid that watch what happens when I drop it. You can't even hear it bouncing because it is like a little red pocket of air. That's all there is left of it because we've taken all the moisture out. Remember, the importance in taking the moisture out is so bacteria cannot grow. And when bacteria cannot grow, food does not go rotten. So if you want your food to last and you don't have to put it in the refrigerator, all you have to do is take the moisture out of it. And that's called dehydration. And this is what we're doing today on Radio Vision Network, Camp with Mrs. Whitebriar. And we'll be back in just a minute to show you a nifty, nifty craft that I want you all to try. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Today's show is sponsored by Hargrove Demolition, your demolition experts. Hargrove is a family-owned and operated business right here in the southern New Jersey area, bringing you 45 years of demolition expertise. Hargrove has all your demolition needs, from emergency demolition service to demolition equipment rental. Hargrove is one of the state-approved recycling facilities right here in the southern New Jersey area. No job is too big or too small for Hargrove Demolition. Contact them today at one of their 3 locations.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to give a sub some sizzle, this is the way. The way it's always been. The way it always should be. The way it always will be. Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
If you haven't been to Speed Raceway, what are you waiting for? You want to live fast? You want to make every second count? Then grab the family. Round up the guys. Speed Raceway is 100,000 square feet of excitement, whether you're a kid or a kid at heart. Speed Raceway is the place for endless fun all summer long. Log on to speedraceway.com or just get here now.
When we make Beyond Natural dry dog and cat foods, we start with real meat as the first ingredient. We leave out corn, wheat, and soy. And we own where our dry food is made. 100%. Can other brands say all that? For nutrition you can trust and your pet will enjoy. Does your food go beyond? Learn more at purinabeyond.com.
Extra Innings is the nation's premier indoor baseball and softball training center, featuring indoor batting cages, 7 multi-use tunnels, and training rooms. Extra Innings can provide professional instruction, private and group lessons, and the best year-round clinics. Along with a nationally recognized pro shop that features the latest and widest selection of equipment and apparel, our experienced staff can provide you with the right instruction and help you find the best equipment for your ability and budget. Extra Innings, where the game never ends.
Today's show has been sponsored by More Than Gifts. Come see our new location in Marlton, New Jersey. Not just gifts, but more.
And welcome back to Radio Vision Network, Camp with Mrs. Whitebriar. I'm Carol Moore, and we're talking about packaging today. And one of the things that I have changed in my lifestyle, which maybe you could change too, I no longer buy my milk in a big plastic gallon. It just seems that the milk doesn't taste as good as it does in a wax container. This is a cardboard box that has a liner on the inside as well as paper on the outside. It's very easy to recycle, and we're going to recycle it today. And today is what we're going to do is we're going to take any box and we're going to squash it. And because it has wax on the cardboard, wax is very flammable. And so what we're doing is we're just folding this up as best as we can. Sometimes when my campers at camp, we jump on them, we stomp them, and we make them flat as we can, because the flatter they are, the more that we can fit in an area. And then, to keep them in that flat position so they don't take up too much room when we store them, we're taking a burnable tape. Now this is just masking tape. You could use thread, you could use a string, but you have to use something that's not plastic, that will not melt. What we want to do is we want to have this catch fire. And what this is going to be, this you're going to light the end, you're going to put a match under here, you put this in your barbecue pit, and it starts your fire so you can make dinner. Now this is another type of box. Can you imagine it? This is, again, organic milk, and I'm smashing it as best as I can. And with winter coming, this is not just for lighting a fire in your barbecue. This is for lighting a fire in your fireplace. Here goes another one. Pay attention. Any box can become a fire starter. You could go to the store and spend $7 for a fire starter, or you can make your own. Make your own out of a cardboard box that is waxed, because the wax that makes it waterproof is also flammable. And we want to use that flammability so that our campfire starts. When you're going camping on the weekend with your mom and dad, take a couple fire starters. Very easy. See how easy that was? One more. This is your last chance. If you're not paying attention now, you're not going to know how to make a fire starter for your barbecue, for your fireplace, or for your campground. And we just smash it up. And the only reason we use the tape is to hold it in place so that it doesn't take up very much room. As I said, you could also use a thread or a string to tie around here to hold it in place. And then when you get your campfire, remember your campfire starts the little wood, the medium-sized wood, then the big wood, and then the logs. You light the box, the little fire starter down the bottom, and it turns the little wood into fire, which then sets the middle-sized wood on fire, which then sets the big wood on fire, and only then, once you have your fire going, then you put the logs on. So there's a recycle project for you to do today. Change from using plastic milk bottles to these cardboard milk bottles, which we then can use as fire starters. All right, that's it for our craft segment here on Radio Vision Network. We'll be right back with one of the farm animals from my farm here at Whitebriar at the Bed and Breakfast, and it's also a farm. We'll be right back.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to give a sub some sizzle, this is the way. The way it's always been. The way it always should be. The way it always will be. Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Simply Gents, located in Marlton, New Jersey, takes care of all your grooming needs, including haircuts, straight razor shaves, massages, facial, manicures, pedicures, and waxing. To find more information or book an appointment, visit us online at www.simplygents.com. The secret weapon of a well-groomed man, Simply Gents.
If you haven't been to Speed Raceway, what are you waiting for? You want to live fast? You want to make every second count? Then grab the family. Round up the guys. Speed Raceway is 100,000 square feet of excitement, whether you're a kid or a kid at heart. Speed Raceway is the place for endless fun all summer long. Log on to speedraceway.com or just get here now.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to make a really great sub, this is what we do. It's what we've been doing. It's what we've always done. It's what we'll always do. So what are you doing? Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Today's show was brought to you by Alicia Kelly of White Horse RV Center in Williamstown, New Jersey. Alicia is your RV expert. Contact Alicia at alicia@whitehorserv.com or give her a call at 856-262-1717, extension 203. When you think of RV, think Alicia Kelly.
Today's show has been sponsored by Farmers Insurance in Voorhees, New Jersey. To protect your assets and the people you love, call Mike Skoranek, your local Farmers Insurance agent, at 856-336-2553.
We are farmers. Bum ba dum bum 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 bum.
And welcome back to Radio Vision Network. This is Carol Moore here as Mrs. Whitebriar. Camp with Mrs. Whitebriar. And our third segment, actually our fourth segment, has to do with an animal that lives on my farm. And this is a barred rock. Barred rock is the name of a chicken. And as you can see, this barred rock is a full-grown rooster. You can tell he's a rooster because he has a great big red comb on the top of his head. He's a beautiful specimen of a very large type of chicken. On top of his head, this is his comb. It feels warm. As a matter of fact, it's hot. And down here underneath, that's his wattle, because when he walks, he waddles. His wings are very, very large. Okay. As you can see, and his black and white color is used by hat makers to make fancy hats and fancy masks, because it looks like somebody painted each feather in stripes of white and black. All right. Now he's not even a year old and he's already this big. And a boy chicken is called a rooster. A girl chicken is called a hen, and this is a boy. So in most towns, you're now allowed to have a chicken in your yard. You're not allowed to have a rooster. Oh, let's see, do you want to sit down or not? You're not allowed to have a rooster because every morning at 5:45, a rooster goes cock-a-doodle-doo. And although you think it's really cool to act like you're living on a farm, Your neighbors might not. So you're not allowed to have a rooster, but you are allowed to have a hen because she doesn't make any noise at all. She goes cluck, 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 a very pleasant sound as far as I'm concerned. But the rooster's cock-a-doodle-doo isn't so bad if he did it at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning, but he does it at 5:45 at my house. I don't need an alarm clock because my rooster wakes me up. And what does a rooster eat? He would walk around the yard and he would eat bugs and worms and things like that if I didn't buy him chicken food. What kind of chicken food does he eat? He eats corn. And I buy him cracked corn because it's easier for him to pick up than the big whole corn. He also eats vegetables just like you. He wants to be big and strong. So he wants to eat vegetables like broccoli and like tomatoes, which is actually a fruit, and peaches are in right now. Any type of fruit he would love to have. And he will peck at it with his beak. That's the part we call his nose. Alrighty? And let's see if he'll stand up. I'd love him to do a cock-a-doodle-doo, but he only does that at 5:45 in the morning. Now, a chicken's feet are different than a duck's feet because a duck can swim and he has skin between his toes, but chickens don't swim. Chickens need their toenails to scratch for bugs and worms and things to eat. A boy chicken, a rooster, as this guy is, also has a very pluming tail. If you can see, his tail has very long feathers. Now a girl chicken has short feathers in that area. So you can always tell a rooster by two different things. Number one, he has beautiful plumes. Again, these are used for hats and making masks out of feather masks and lots of crafts with feathers. And you can tell he's a rooster because he has a very large comb. A girl chicken the same size, the same age, the same breed would have half as much of a comb up here. This comb feels kind of like Velcro. It's warm and it's not slimy and it's just a very nice feeling. Okay, so this is our rooster for today, and his name is Mr. Speckles. Yes, I called your name and you turned right over. That's great. And he wakes me up every morning at 5:45, whether I like it or not. Sometimes I think he goes back to sleep till 9 or 10, but he's waking us up at 5:45. So that's it for today on Radio Vision Network. This is Carol Moore with Mrs. Whitebriar here at Camp Whitebriar, and one of our animals says hi. Stop over anytime if you want. We'll be happy to introduce you to Mr. Speckles here at Radio Vision Network, Camp with Mrs. Whitebriar, and we'll see you next time when we have more fun with Ben Franklin Stamp Club, as well as a food craft for the kids, a recycle project, and also a farm animal from our home, which is called Whitebriar Bed and Breakfast. Thanks so much and have a good week.